Hey there, I'm Tim Schacht. My farm's Ohio Till Farmstead. We're here in Marysville, Ohio, just northwest of Marysville. We are diverse small grains and corn and beans rotation on our farm. Organic, so our rotation's fairly long, usually about 4 to 5 year rotation. And yeah, happy to be talking to you guys.
I appreciate it there, Tim. Can you describe to me any sustainable practices you've implemented on your farm and how they've impacted your overall productivity and maybe your environmental footprint?
Yeah, so our sustainable practices we've implemented here has mainly been around the transition. So we've transitioned majority of our fields from conventional to organic now. And with that, we've implemented some practices around crop rotation, and as well as implementing a lot of cover crops. So we implement cover crop mixes, complementing those cover crops to feed our cash crops in the next year. So with soybeans, we'll plant like a cereal rye in front of it, and then use the nutrients from that cereal rye plow down to feed the soybeans the following year. And then the same for, like, if we're going to corn, we'll plant a red clover or a mix with tillage radish and a cocktail mix of cover crops to then use as a nutrients for then the corn coming into our corn year. So those are some practices we've used. It's sustainable in the point of it's not giving we're using nutrients in the soil and we're not buying outside sources for the farm, so it's more sustainable on our cash flow from our farm because we're not buying off-farm inputs all the time, as well as the longer rotation. So it helps not only the soil, but it also helps the plants and animals. It keeps all the microbes fed with all the plants and the roots in the ground all the time. So that's our benefits for some of our sustainable practices.
I appreciate that. Out of all that, what motivates you to adopt the sustainable farming methods, and what benefits have you observed on the farm in terms of your crop quality, the soil health, and maybe economics overall for your farm?
Yeah, so with the longer rotation, I think the benefits are, one, since we're transitioning, we will be certified organic this year. With our longer rotation, I think that's a sustainable practice because we don't have to worry about as much as in plant diseases because we're constantly changing that cycle with our rotation every year, as well as implementing tillage. I know with organics, using different forms of tillage helps to, one, break plant diseases that are common in the soil, as well as insect pressure the following year if you're rotating to a different crop. I see that as a benefit, as well as you're kind of keeping like your fence rows and things like that more natural for natural habitat for plants, animals, as well as, since we do a lot of cover crops and things like that, we promote pollinators with clover that we plant, and all of our field buffers are a pollinator strip. So we're just trying to give back to Mother Nature where we can to allow for the plants and animals to have a little bit of an area as well in our cash crop fields.
Okay. Have you noticed any increase in your cash inflow from using some of these methods?
I mean, I don't know if it's a cash inflow if you're talking about per cash crop, it's not really that way. If you think about it, it's more of a farm sustainability, as in, since our crop rotation is so large, and this year we're farming 7 different crop types on top of doing soybeans. So the benefit for me is that risk is then spread out. So some years you'll have, depending on weather and everything that goes into the dynamics of the imperfect world of agriculture, the risk is then spread out because some years the soybeans might do really good. Well, some years they might not do great, but then you'll have another crop, whether it's corn, sunflowers, wheat, that's able to then cover that, and it kind of balances out where your
unforeseen benefits. Then.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Okay. And then in the end, there, how do you see the role of the technology enhancing those sustainable practices? And do you have any here or any innovations you use to make a difference on your farm?
So obviously I'm a first generation small farm, so I can't afford the big fancy new equipment with all the computers and tracking and acreage, all of the yield monitors and things like that in their combines. So everything I run is pretty much basics. I kind of like it that way, one, because there's not a lot invested into it because I can afford it, and also it's simple and easy to fix because it's guaranteed to break down. But for technology that I see that I'd like to implement would be, guidance on cultivating, so you can run through acres faster without wiping out your cash crop, as well as just yield mapping in your harvester to figure out where's your strong areas of your field, what areas need more attention when it comes to fertility, if you're putting on any fertility, or if it comes to balancing the soil fertility or the minerals and things like that in the soil. So there's a place for technology for sure, and I would like to implement it, but right now it's just not where I'm at cash flow wise.
I understand. I appreciate that. Well, thank you very much, Tim, for your time today, and
Sure.
happy farming to you.
Thanks.
Thank you.